Hey, Colabcoaching here. Going to share some wise words of wisdom for the week. It is a new series. I'm so excited about starting a brand new series. And this series is going to be on triggers. This series is going to be a little bit deep. It might touch you in a certain way. It might not give me many likes or many comments, but I understand that this needs to be said. So, my first question for this series is, what are your triggers? You know, I personally have a lot of triggers, especially from being young, and um, it's pretty much common knowledge that you learn the most from your childhood. A lot of things that happens in your childhood affects you when you're an adult. So for me, I have a lot of triggers. I have a lot of triggers because I was a chubby kid when I was younger. So if someone tells me even to this day that, oh, you're gaining a little bit of weight, or oh, you look a little big, that triggers me. That triggers me because it goes back to the days where I was bullied when I was bigger, and how I felt that I wasn't significant, and it gave me all these insecurities about myself. And the biggest thing that I learned is that triggers highlight your insecurities. Triggers tell you the truth that you don't want to actually hear, and the truth that you decided to suppress. So for me hearing that, oh, I'm gaining a little bit of weight, that triggers me to just think that, oh man, these people think that I'm fat. Am I really fat? Um, what should I do? Should I do things different? Should I go starve myself? All these different things. But once I sit back and instead of acting on what people say the triggers, and I sit down and think about what I want to respond to those comments, it allows me to open up my perspective. You know, we tend to think that triggers are just negative. They're just negative. They have nothing but negativity. But triggers hold the truth to help you understand why you feel the way you are. In a sense, triggers show you who you truly are. Because if I'm triggered about hearing the word fat or hearing the word overweight, that means that I have not truly, completely got over the idea of me being fat or me being overweight. And that's something that I have to deal with personally. The thing that many of us do, and especially what I did, was to think that, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. I don't really care what they're saying. They're haters. I'm going to suppress those feelings that I initially felt from those triggers and then let it go. And I'll deal with it later. But then you hear it again from someone else. You hear it again from someone else. And mind you, there are people that they just want to hate and they just want to find things to bring you down. But if it affects you to the point where has you thinking about it for long periods of time and questioning yourself, and you losing the security that you have within yourself, it means that there is something that you're not ready to talk about. And that's what triggers do to you. We have to change the dynamic in this mindset of thinking that triggers are terrible. Actually, triggers are enlightening because they show you truths about yourself that can help make you a better person. I'll give you another example. I think me being not 6 feet tall, not being as tall as a lot of people, not being as tall as my friends. Most of my friends are around 6 feet tall, and that's a blessing in itself. I'm surrounded by giants, but I'm not there. So whenever I hear short, or me being short, or me being not as tall as everybody else, that makes me think, man, I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not the stature that I want to be. I wish I was a little bit taller, how the song goes. And that makes me feel down about myself because that's something I can't do anything about. Like how can you resolve a trigger that you can't do anything about? I had to sit down with myself, and instead of acting or reacting to what other people say about my height, I have to sit down and say, well, yes, the reality is I am not tall, but I'm fine with who I am as a person. That's the thing that we have to do. It's not in a sense just trying to twist words and pretend like these things are not true, because sometimes, most of the time, these triggers are accurate. These triggers are true, and it hurts you the most because you know it's true, but you don't want to admit it. So for me, I have to sit down and admit, okay, I'm not tall enough, but also think about, well, I'm good the way I am right now. I know that God has not blessed me with height, but that does not mean that I'm not good enough as a person. What does my height have to equate to? Is my height does not equal who I am as as a person. My height does not equal my heart. My height does not equal how I feel about people. My height does not equal all the different things that I can do, that I do excel in, that I have done, things I have accomplished. Triggers are there. Triggers will always be there. Just like fear will always be there. Just like pain will always be there. We have to pinpoint why it affect us so much. So I pose that question to you. What are your triggers? What are these things that make you feel bad about yourself? What are these things that when you hear someone say, even from a distance, someone that don't even know you, someone that sees you for the first time, someone that doesn't even know your last name, and they say something to you and it hurts you, and you start to act on that and you start to argue with that person? Why are you doing that? What about what they said? What did they say? Say it a little bit better. What about the things that they said affect you so much? And why are you running away from it? We tend to run away things that tell us the truth because the truth hurts. And the lie is more convenient because it allows you to suppress the truth. We tend to think that, okay, well, yeah, they may say something that might be true to how I feel, but it is what it is. They don't know what I'm talking. They don't know me. They don't know true me. And then in some regards, they don't know you, but their perception of you is valid because that's what they see. The problem is that you're not allowing yourself to see beyond that. You are seeing yourself based on the trigger. You're seeing yourself based on what people say about you. You're seeing yourself based on what people feel about you. But you're beyond that. You're not a word. You're not a sentence. You're not a paragraph. You're not a book. You are a part of this big old universe. You have so much about you that you don't even know about yet. So how can they tell you who you are? How can anyone label you as this, that, and third? How can anyone label you as fat? How can someone label you as stupid? How can someone label you as short? These might be things that they think they see about you, but that's not who you truly are. We have to break free from the emotions that are attached to the triggers because we are above our emotions. It goes back to what I say also, that you have more control about yourself and who you are as a person than you care to admit, because we tend to give that control to other things. We tend to give it to what people say. We tend to give it to people that we care about. We tend to give it to our fears. We tend to give it to our anxiety. We tend to give it to our beliefs. But the power that all these things have over you came from you. They originated from you. So now you got to take it back. Long story short is, think about what triggers you. Think about a conversation that you had recently. Think about a situation that you were in recently that made you act in a certain way that you weren't really too proud of, that didn't really make you feel comfortable about sitting back and thinking about what you did. And think about those triggers that made you act that way. Think about what your triggers are. As long as you know that your triggers are just triggers and they may hold some truth to who you are as a person, you'll be able to work on overcoming those triggers and seeing triggers for who they are and what they are. And triggers are nothing but truth that is there to help you realize something about yourself that you decided to put to the side and not resolve. So, who am I? I'm the Colab coach. I focus on relationships, but not only intimate relationships with your friends, families, neighbors, co-workers, and the most important relationship of all, with yourself. It's June. I'm still doing the same special from May because I feel like the world still needs it. 15 minutes of free conversation. That's all it is. You could talk about whatever you want, cry, vent. I'm here for it. Just message me. Follow me on Facebook, Colab Coaching. Instagram, Colab Coaching. All my videos are on YouTube, Colab Coaching. Like and subscribe. And share this with anyone that you know that are being affected by their triggers and they need help to get over that, because you know their triggers are destroying your lives. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Be safe.